what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to celebrate Paldean fates with the release of Espathra EX. Yeah, I'm not tripping. I'm talking about Espathra EX. You know that bird-looking Pokemon that come out in the set? One of the very few new cards. I mean, we cooked up a deck list. I'm going to explain that a little bit. But you want to know what? This is a really cool deck, and I think it might actually have the potential, like there's potential somewhere, even if it's this big, to see success in our Paldean Fates metagame. Subscribe to the channel and let's look into this list. Here you have it, Espathra EX control. I posted this on X the other day. Cal and I were in a Discord call. I had to kind of write an article about some new Paldean Fates cards we kind of got in our feels, and here we are. Espathra EX, which at the time of this video has not come out, and I mean it's just came out on PTCG Live, so we're gonna run a game after this, so stay tuned for that. List is available in the description. Give it a try on PTCG Live today, and check out any of our sponsors if you want to pick up any of these Paldean Fates cards. Literally, we have Pidgeot EX control has evolved into Pidgeot Espathra. Espathra allows us to kind of get our opponent to load up extra energies, and they're using more resources. How do we counter that? Well, we have Pokemon Center HQ, we have Espathra's ability, and we have Crushing Hammer, Giacomo, and Sidney to really apply some pressure when it comes to energies. Now, before we play any kind of gameplay, I do want to point out, we're not always going to be using Espathra. When it comes to playing these control decks, Luxray is not going to hit the field every single game. Pidgeot's always, it could be a liability. Rotom is going to try to draw as many cards before it gets knocked out. But decks like these typically have a lot of answers to the top decks. You might be wondering, where does Espathra come in? Well, decks like these typically struggle against Lost Zone box decks. So if you're playing a standard Snorlax control, you might be struggling when your opponent has 4 Switch, 4 Escape Rope, 4 Switch cards. They're drawing through their deck, and then they could go Sableye Lost Mine or something. Well, maybe Sableye Lost Mine is not going to happen when it costs an extra energy with Espathra EX's ability. And you have Pokemon Center, or Pokemon League headquarters. So if you play against a deck like that, Espathra has some opportunities. Now, Flittle is going to be a little bit of a liability with only 30 HP, and that might be a little bit scary, but it does have free retreat. So how does this deck work? Well, we really want to find the way to tackle our opponent, whether they don't have a way to get around Mimikyu, like a Charizard deck, or even if they have a way to get around Mimikyu, we could power up Mimikyu or any of our attackers and isolate those Pokemon, Lost City them out of the game, and then they're gone. So if I played against a Charizard deck, that would really be where Mimikyu would come up. Maybe our opponent's in a case where we could kind of rip their hand to shreds with Luxray, taking away those last resources. Maybe we can Mawile control lock something that our opponent has in the active. Maybe, like I said, against a Lost Zone box deck, we can use Espathra. We have Pidgeot that allows us to be the vessel of searching out whatever we need. That's why we have a bunch of one-of supporters compared to a traditional Snorlax control deck that has multiple. And we're just really going to try to bide through the games, taking scenarios one by one. This is kind of a new deck to me as well, so we'll see if we're able to play this to the absolute best of our capabilities. But I do think there's a lot of really cool gameplay mechanics here. The idea is really cool, and if it ends up working, this could be a real deck for any of the Paldean Fates legal regionals. So let's check out the gameplay. If you haven't already hit that like button, hit it. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so we're going to try out Espathra EX control. Now, this is an idea that Cal Connor and I had late night on a Discord call. Is it going to work? We're going to find out. The whole idea is, well, we're really just trying to get our opponent in a case where they can't attack us, whether that's with Espathra, Mimikyu, or anything else. It's kind of like a Snorlax deck. Like, Snorlax blocks your opponents, and then maybe Mimikyu is what gets them off. Does this deck want to go first? No, I think we want to go second. And that's just so that we have access to our supporters. Cards like Battle VIP Pass are easily searchable. With Arven, we got to get those little Flittles out there. And I mean, we might mulligan a few times. And again, this is our kind of the first take on the deck. And do I think it's the best deck in the world? Well, I do have some hopes for it, but I think that it's going to require some cooking. The next regionals that I have in this format, or the first regionals I have in this format, is going to be Vancouver. So maybe I'll be able to get it ready for then, and then the deck's like going. But I'm glad that we found Battle VIP Pass, Pokégear, and we'll have to see how this plays out. So there's Luxray. Luxray we use to just like rip trainer cards from our opponent's hand if we need to. Not necessarily the card that I want to start with, But we'll see whatever goes on here. This Charmander might be problematic, but I think we might be able to get by with just like Mimikyu in this matchup. And then like maybe a Espathra, especially if my opponent kind of maneuvers their energies in a weird way. So that's kind of where my plan is. Like, I don't want... I'm not drawing prize cards with this deck. And I mean, I guess we could. We are a grass-type Pokemon playing against a deck that's weak to grass. So we'll see how that plays out. I want to trap the Mew up with Mawile. So instead of playing Snorlax, we decided that Mawile would be a little bit less cost-intensive. So I think, like, just by our opponent going for a natural strategy, maybe thinking that we're playing against a Miraidon deck, we could probably keep this Mew trapped up over and over again. So that's kind of my game plan. And they got Rare Candy, so they probably only have a switch. So we'll try to get set up as much as humanly possible. Battle VIP Pass is definitely the card that I want first. And I want to take an idea and look through this deck. Now, as much as I want to play Espathra right away, I think what I need to do is maybe just get out Pidgey so I can have some control over the game. I also don't want to be like tossing prize cards around everywhere. So that's something I gotta worry about. But I think starting things off, I just want to go for Rotom and Pidgey. And I also want to see what I can get off Pokégear here. Just because now that I can play it, I've thinned through my deck. We're going to see what we can get. Penny is probably okay. There's a lot of things that they can do. But I think what I want to do here is just maybe I want to draw cards. I don't think there's really much else that I can do. We kind of got like a bit of a rough go. I was hoping for more of an Arven. And even with this hand, like, it's not a lot. So I hope that like there's just like something I have in my deck that can deconstruct my opponent's deck. That's really the game plan here. And maybe Espathra is better against like a Lost Zone box deck, or maybe it's better against a lot of different decks, but I think like we're just trying to figure out where it goes. With Charizard list only playing 6 fires, 2 super rods, I also think there's a point where we could just run them out of energies and run them out of resources. So this kind of energy denial control build that differs from Snorlax Pidgeot is going to like maybe have a better option against it. And they also can't knock out Espathra as far as I'm concerned. I'll double check that just like to make sure my typing's on point and stuff like that. Because I mean, it is usually a psychic Pokemon that is grass type now. So maybe it is weak to dark. But I honestly I'm not like super like knowledgeable about like what Espathra is. It looks like a bird. I think it's a bird. So we'll see. And like I do want to point out Charizard EX like just made finals of Charlotte Regionals. It won San Antonio Regionals. It made top 8 at Portland Regionals. It's been on an absolute tear. So like the thing is like when it comes to knowing like you're playing against a control deck, and again this is kind of starting to look like control deck, you can't play the deck normally. That's one thing that's really going to hurt this Charizard player here, because I'm pretty close to just being able to put Mimikyu down and chillin'. Another thing that I could do is also just knock out our opponent's Pokemon with or not knock them out, like I could just get a Espathra up, or I can knock out with Pidgeot against their Charmander to a point where they can't have an out to use Charmeleon against Mimikyu. Oh, they're using Boss. That is kind of annoying. That changes up a lot of stuff. We'll see what they decide to go for. Probably going to grab a Pidgey here if I ever had a hunch. Losing Super Rod's really rough here too. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's probably all their energies that they have. So like I think we're pretty okay right now. Let's see, there's Burning Darkness. I gotta be careful of that the Vitality Band, but at least I know it's not a choice belt now, knowing that like I have Luxray in play. I might, since I have nothing else to really attack with, I might just send up Luxray because I could Penny it the next turn. See what we get. Let's go Crushing Hammer here. Okay, so this is where I really want things to be really annoying for our opponent. Pidgey is something that might just like sit there. So I think like what I want to do is probably just rip the fire energy off the Zard, because it already has the requirements. So let's go ahead and rip that off. Let's put Mimikyu down because I think that could be quite important. I don't think I want to put anything else down there because like League Headquarters could actually be really bad for us right now, because that would stop Luxray. I don't want to boss up anything. I think what I want to do is just rip a card out of our opponent's hand. And if I get attacked into, we'll deal with that. I also just get to see what's in our opponent's hand. So let's go Fang Snipe, and we're going to go 10 here. Okay, so I guess I'm going to take out this. Or maybe I wanted to get 4 Steel Stone in case they top deck, because I think that's probably a little bit better. So we're going to take that out, and it looks like our opponent's going to go draw pass. This is really where the start of things want to happen. I mean, I would have loved to have Rotom, but like when they go turn 2, knock out Rotom, it's fine. They also just don't have an answer. Oh, sick, top deck. This gets them Rare Candy. I don't think this actually gets our opponent anything when it comes down to it. Like, switch choice. Are you kidding me? They play Vitality and they play Choice Belt? This is actually getting so problematic. The fact that they're playing Vitality and Choice Belt is bizarre. Definitely not like a super standard list. But you want to know what? They are running out of resources as well here. The last card that they have in their deck, in their hand, is Vacuum. They are down to 2 prize cards. I have to be a little bit careful when it comes to this. Cool. So we're going to set up Mimikyu because that's our next idea. What a top deck, and what like an interesting list that they're also playing. I don't have a way to really draw anything more than what I want to. So let's go Counter Catcher, bring up this Charizard EX. And let's go ahead, and I don't want to put Pidgey, like I'd rather just keep Pidgey in play. So let's go ahead here and pass and hope that like our opponent does not have enough energies to build up the Charmander that's on their bench. If they're playing like the 7 energy build that plays 1 Super Rod, and I mean with everything else that they have, it's like just tough. But we will see at what point that they can't get anything. Giacomo does nothing. We don't have anything here. We're just gonna go ahead and pass. And don't be worried to like just draw pass a few times. Like, I'm not really worried about it. We're more so worried about like just this Charmander, and I'd love to Lost City Ghost Eye them, if that's a possibility in the future. And I hope we could top deck out of this. We're getting kind of close to drawing something, and if they ever attacked us, we would just Turo this Pidgeot. So we're gonna go ahead here and pass again. Because once we take care of their Pokemon that can attack the Mimikyu, I think we're actually really good. Like, sure, they could use Gust, or like, I'm not really worried right now. I'd be worried if we were like, if our Mimikyu was taking hits. I think we're actually almost safe to put down a Espathra as well, if we drew it. So let's go Arven. Quite a strong card for us to top deck there. Let's go if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponents. I think that Defiance Vest could be cool in some cases, but I'm just going to go Rare Candy. Let's go Rare Candy on the Yacht. And what I want to do here is quick search my deck for... We're weak to fire when it comes to Espathra, for what it's worth. I want to search my deck for a Psychic Energy. So I'm ready to go for next turn to bring up that Charmander so that there's nothing else there. So not really using it like we're using Espathra here. We're not even in a position, because our opponents had such a quick start, that we're going to have to go aggro Mimikyu. So we're probably going to play some other games with this deck, but it is a very real control deck so far. Let's go ahead here and pass our turn. And I hope that our opponent passes our turn next turn. Like, they might go boss, bring up Pidgeot. I will use Professor Turo on that Pokemon if I have to. So there's our Arven. I mean, this could easily search out Level Ball. There's their second Super Rod. So they are grabbing some energies back, which is quite scary to deal with, to be honest. It's really something that we don't want to deal with, but... Also, Mimikyu could get knocked out by Radzard, so we have to be careful not to draw too many prize cards. but I think whatever energies they have in play, there's effectively, we don't have a game log. I think they shuffled back in, I counted 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have 3 more. So we're going to be able to take out Charmander because we do have that boss's orders in our hands. And the double turbo energy that we can attach to our Mimikyu allows us to, it's not going to affect Ghost Eye because its damage counter is not damage. So let's go ahead and boss this up. I'm also just going to Lost City so it's gone forever. Giving our opponent one more thing to worry about, because once they have no access to Charmeleon, it should be game over. We could also just search out whatever we want. So we're not always just like draw passing. We do have opportunities here. I actually don't even hate the idea of putting down Nest Ball. Our opponent can hit for 250, 210, 220. So as long as we don't draw too many prize cards, Espathra is probably safe. I think like it's getting dangerous at this point since I'm drawing prize cards. I also just like, there's a point where I'm going to put Pidgeot back in my hands. Like, I'm going to stop using Ghost Eye at a certain point. And that's my plan. And I want to just like get myself to a point where it's like Cyllene, remove energies, stuff like that. So we will take it one step at a time. There's a fire energy on the Pidgey. This is where I want to actually bump the Lost City. Okay, they're just going to go for Artisan. I'm going to use Pokemon League Headquarters to just require it to cost more energies. And this is where like we could trap things again with Espathra. They might not be able to reach those heights, or if they do reach those heights, we could attach, like if Charizard has 3, 4 energies on it, we could do a lot of damage. Okay, so it looks like they're just going to Pidgey it up. Most of the Pidgeys are playing, most of the lists are playing the other Pidgeys, so it seems like our opponent's playing an interesting list here. And as I go through their list, I'm completely fine with this. This is completely cool. Because again, Pidgey can only do 20 damage. And if they retreat the Mew, like we could just get out Mimikyu and trap something up, and this is also completely fine. I'm just going to Turo this. So the thing that's cool about control decks, especially decks, new control decks, is when your opponent gets out something like your opponent might see like some kind of glimmers of what your deck is. They're not going to know what Espathra EX control deck is capable of. And I think that gives you an advantage because I know what I'm doing against a Charizard deck. I'm not sure if the Charizard deck knows what they're doing against me. So there's Burning Darkness. Like we are going to go quick search and search something out. Let's go ahead and quick search here. I think what I want to do is just take out the Pidgey. And we are going to go ahead and I don't really care about what I put on my bench. I am just going to go Professor Turo's scenario, putting the Pidgey back into my hands, sending this up, going counter catcher this up. And I don't want to put another Pidgeot down because I'm kind of worried a little bit about it. And I mean, maybe I shouldn't worry about it too much because they can hit for, it's 2 prize cards drawn. You want to know what? I'm going to put the Pidgey down. If they draw another prize card, that's cool. I am going to go ahead and use Pokemon League Headquarters, and I'm going to Ghost Eye this because we already have the required counts of things that we need. And when it comes down to other things in our opponent's hand, like they've lost their Lost Vacuum, they've gone through an Artisan, I'm feeling kind of okay. And maybe they'll go after Pidgey, but they've also gone through quite a few boss's orders. They've gone through Switch, Double Super Rod, so there's a pretty good chance here that I think that we could just take care of this deck. They're also down less cards than we are. The Radiant Charizard might be a little bit annoying, but it is going to require more energy. Tool Jammer as well? Okay, so there's Pokemon League Headquarters, probably gone. And I guess I'm also fine with this Iono. I don't ever want to put Flittle down. That's something that I'm kind of worried about. Pokemon, 1 Pidgey. For the rest of the game, I could also, since I already have 1 Pidgey, I'd rather just hit them with 2 Pidgeys. their bench is full. We don't need to worry about Charmeleon. Now I just need to worry about Radiant Charizard or Gust. Gust gives me a lot of turns because I think that they've lost all of their things. They could go Tool Jammer, so we can get Gusted 4 times before it becomes a big deal. I am going to go Pokégear, and there's Arven. I wish I had like a more of an autonomous way to draw cards. I'm just going to grab Crushing Hammer, and I'm going to grab 4 Seal Stone. And, I mean, do I care about Ghost Eye? I don't want to ever attack our opponent if I don't have to. I don't think there's actually any disadvantage to doing Ghost Eye. I don't think they could place damage counters on themselves. So I'm just going to attack, just because I think like it makes sense to do some damage to our opponent if I ever need to draw prize cards to reduce energies. But I won't knock out our opponent's Pokemon until I deem that it's safe or not safe. And I'm okay with this. Sucks to put Crushing Hammer at the bottom of the deck, but we will see whatever we get here. This grabs tools, special energies, and stadiums. We also get to see what's in their hands, which I think could be quite good. We have counter catchers, so let's see what Sidney brings. So they have Research and Rotom, that's fine. And I'm just going to hit with Ghost Eye. So there's a lot of things where like I feel like they're kind of trapped right now. And even Radiant Charizard, if I don't draw prize cards, they're going to require Fire automatically. And I reduce it by 2. So that means they require 3 Fires out of their 7 or 8 that they play. So 3 out of the remaining, like let's just say they play 5 energies. And I'm hoping that I could remove some when it comes to these Arvens. I don't necessarily have all of the power that I'm looking for when it comes to this motion. But as soon as they retreat this Charizard, I will just counter catcher it back up if they ever go for a Gust. I'm not going to put Flittle down because I don't want to give our opponent the 2 free prize cards in play. Arven, I don't really want to search until because I don't think that they're going to do much else. So I'm just going to go for Ghost Eye. And we will stop the Ghost Eyes at some points. So having an understanding of like what your opponent's deck has to offer is super cool. And I'm sure that they're like probably just waiting for me to like let Combustion Blast happen. They're going to knock out my Mimikyu and it's going to be a thing. We're not making mistakes like that. So we're going to go ahead here and just attack with Ghost Eye. Again, no more attacks with Ghost Eye. And there's Espathra EX, part of the video. You know what I'm saying? I think like it's one of those things where maybe we won't record because it's showing that the Espathra EX, whether or not you get it out, it can function as a separate control deck. And it's just like, I think Espathra EX could have definitely put our opponent in a case where like they attached their energies all over and maybe they couldn't have attacked us, or maybe we could have attacked into their Charizard with it and they don't have a response. Like, I'm sure it will find its place and I want you to try out the deck on your own. In this case, it's just too unsafe for me to put a Flittle down. And I think like these videos make it really tough to kind of showcase how a deck perfectly should work. That's okay. Probably going to get a Pidgeot. They're also down to a very few cards left in their deck. So right now being at 9, I really don't know what's going to happen here. I'm not super worried about it. But I guess we shall find out. Okay, so that's fine. Iono doesn't really help us in any capacity right now. I'd rather just like not do anything. I'm just gonna end my turn. I almost want to kind of bring up the Radiant Charizard, but I also just feel like bringing up Radiant Charizard puts us in a different like kind of issue of just like they don't need Switch no more. Like I want Beans to make that decision to retreat the Charizard because they've already played Switch, and then I attack, then I just bring back the Charizard. Okay, there's Collapse Stadium. Probably going to take away the Mew. Pidgey's also fine. I'm cool with this. I don't think that necessarily hurts us. I mean, there's no more Gust option to attack us. And we already have a Crushing Hammer. So I'm going to keep this hand. I'm just going to pass here. And we're really just waiting to see what they do here. Okay, sweets. Gonna take another turn. I don't know if I care about Pokégear. Maybe it's worthwhile. Erika's doesn't do anything. Turo's doesn't really do nothing. Team Yelchier could be kind of cool. I'm just gonna grab that and I'm just gonna pass. There's Quick Search, and they also have to grab a card from their deck, which puts them down to 4. Like, you can see we're getting really close to the deck out. So even if we lose this experimental Espathra deck is not ruining the consistency. There's Lost City. Okay. If I just attack the Charmander, how many energies do they need? They go 2, 30... sorry, so they remove 3 energies. They have 2 energies. It's impossible for them to get it. So let's go ahead and counter catcher up this Charmander. And I will Ghost Eye it. And that means that there's no more Charmeleon that can ever attack us. So let's go Ghost Eye. It also comes with the cost of the energy is kind of lost zoned as well. Because they've played 2 Super Rods. I'd be super surprised if they ever played 3. So Mimikyu is really holding in clutch this matchup because we had all the resources to take out our opponent's stuff. We're also getting to draw prize cards. I have to be careful because now that we've drawn 3 prize cards, our opponent could do 180 plus 30, 210, 240, 270 plus 10, 280. So getting out of Pidgeot EX could be a death sentence on this Burning Darkness. I cannot evolve this Pidgey for the rest of the game, and if I have the opportunity to penny it, I will, but I'm also fine with our opponent taking a prize card. They're down to 3. I don't know if I should penny it right now. I don't think I should. I think I should look through here. There's a Crushing Hammer, a Rare Candy, and a Nest Ball. I'm gonna go penny and grab those cards out. Oh, I meant to say Peonia, but that's okay. I guess we all make mistakes. Shout out me. I also like that I could Flittle free retreat back into Mimikyu if our opponent ever decides to attack into it. So that kind of sucks. I will go ahead here and pass my turn then. Word. I would never make that mistake in real life, and I feel like sometimes I make little mistakes like that online. I also want to just barrage our opponent with Crushing Hammers if we ever get to that point. So let's play Peonia and not Professor Turos or nothing like that. 1, 2, 3. Those are really easy cards. Pidgey, Espathra. I mean, at least we use Espathra to put into our prize cards. The reason why I'm not putting Flittle is, again, because it has free retreats. And I might as well use Ghost Eye, again, just to bring our opponent to a point where, if I need to attack something, I can attack something. If it doesn't happen like that, that's also cool. And next turn, if our opponent does get an energy onto Charizard, Radiant Charizard, 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. They're down to 1 card left. Probably gonna play Iono, to be honest. I'm okay with that. So let's just use Ghost Eye again. So we'll see, they have to do something to put cards back into their deck, whether that's playing an Iono, in which they've played 2. Maybe they're gonna play 2 and attach an energy from their hands. If I had a hunch of what our opponent's going to be doing, either that or they just lose this game. Well, it looks like our opponent just lost this game, so that's really cool. We're just going to go ahead and use Ghost Eye. We're going to take the dub because our opponent has decked out. So sometimes they can't deal with the Mimikyu strategy. Maybe other decks can't deal with Espathra. Maybe other decks can't deal with Luxray. I think we kind of used everything we possibly could in this matchup, especially with our opponent's explosive start. And that's what we got going on with our gameplay today. I decided that, you want to know what, 25-ish minutes is enough of you watching Control gameplay. If you loved it, maybe let me know in the comments and maybe we're going to control some more. But I think Espathra EX is really going to be the card against maybe some basic Pokemon. A Miraidon might be a case where I want to have it out, or maybe it's a Lost Zone box deck, like a Sablezard deck. We couldn't really get it out in that games because Beans was able to attack very quickly, and if the Espathra EX took some damage and we got a well-timed Iono, maybe a boss could follow it up and really win the game. So it wasn't necessarily safe, even though Charizard is a matchup I could see Espathra EX working well in. It really depends on the build, and Beans had more of an interesting build of Charizard. Needless to say, we were able to take it down with Mimikyu, so as long as we're able to win with some of the tools that we have, that's all that really matters when it comes to playing these control decks. I think this deck is super cool. Again, I'm going to look into it and buy a couple of Espathra EX. And if you're looking for Espathra EX yourself, we do have our sponsors that you can check out in the description. Some of them even have discount codes available. You can help support the squad. Maybe I'll write an article about Espathra EX in the future, or you could read any of the articles that we have from our other teammates on the Shuffle Squad on our patreon.com/TSSWin. It's like $10 a month. You get access to all of our deck lists, all of our long form articles, and chatting with the squad. I think it's worth it. That being said, I got some articles to write today. Best of luck to everyone competing at Liverpool if you're going there. Best of luck to anyone going to any League Cups, League Challenges, anything. And I will stay tuned with all y'all soon, so keep up with the Shuffle Squad. Peace out, and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.